Okay, the recording has started, and this is the March 12th, 2019 Rook Community Meeting. So we will go ahead and start with looking at the 0.9 patch releases. We just did one recently, so I don't think... Oh, I need to get this thing off my screen. It's in the way. There we go. I don't think that we have much on here to worry about right now that I remember, at least.
Yeah, there is one issue in the 0.9 board there. It's really an old issue that hasn't had enough attention. Um, but it's, how can we get FS group to not, I think it was, recursively apply or chmod or related things in the container, in the mount. So I haven't had more time for this.
Do you think that's still a 0.9 desirable thing, or is just roll it into 1.0?
Well, at this point, I think getting it into 1.0 would be the priority in my mind. If we're saying it's around the corner, or we're basically weeks away,
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 weeks away.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable, especially if there's nothing else too that we want to do a backport or a patch release for. That this by itself probably isn't going to get that attention.
Right. I'll move it out to 1.0.
Okay. Okay, so let's close that out. Let's go ahead and look at 1.0.
Lots of issues in there.
But all of them have labels.
Yes, thank you, Alex.
This looks like more than I remember from last time.
The list is growing of what we want in the release, right?
Is it?
Or we're tracking more of it, maybe. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, that's a massive list. That's kind of surprising, actually. Do we probably need to start either kicking out or punting some of the issues we know we don't want to do in 1.0, and then also start pinging some of the other storage provider owners, like pinging Dimitri about, sorry, not Dimitri, Yanis about some of the Cassandra stuff, and then pinging Dimitri for EdgeFS, etc. I think that there's a fair amount of these that are just not gonna be in the 1.0 milestone.
Dimitri's here today too.
Oh, he is?
Yep.
Yay!
Hey guys.
Hey Dimitri. Are there any comments that you have on the EdgeFS issues for 1.0? Is this are these issues here all expected and planned in within the next few weeks?
Yeah, our team is on plan to close them all, so I think we're gonna be okay.
Awesome.
Also, thank you for usage of the logger. So we probably fix that one as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, that should be something really simple. I think it's just a like a 1 or 2 line change there. That should be simple.
Yep.
Yeah, and with all that we want to do in 1.0 and shooting for the quarterly release, like let's talk about what timeline we're actually talking about for release. I think we've been saying end of March would be the quarterly cadence. As a side note, I'm going to be out that week, but do we want to shoot for that week still? Do we want to shoot for early April? Because there's so much we need to sift through to go for.
I think that it's a little hard to have that conversation too when we don't have an accurate picture of the full scope that we want to include. Like, I don't think we've identified what the critical issues that that we don't want to ship 1.0 without. So I think that's kind of a first step that we would need to have some more clarity. Most likely, what we're going to want to do though is, I'm not married to the exact last week of March. I don't think that's a strict requirement. So, doing a release and trying to wrap up the milestone when you are available and, not out of town, I think makes sense to me.
Yeah,
So it's probably,
I'd like to be
realistically,
around.
it's probably going to be first week of April more so than,
Yeah,
before in March.
and yes, and before we can even commit to that, we need to commit to what are we shooting for in the release, and if this really is a time-based release, we have to get more strict about making it a time-based release and not a feature-based release type of thing. I think that's the challenge. We've been in a feature release mentality, since the beginning of the project, which has worked fine. But are we a time-based release? In which case, how do we decide that we're okay with that and that some features won't make it in, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, and I think that also requires having a well-informed understanding of what features are required. Like if there's something that would block the release that we would not ship without that, then being a strictly time-based release becomes a little bit more malleable, I would say.
Yeah.
So having a well-informed understanding of what the critical features are is important here.
Can I bring up I guess just a thought?
Sure, Blaine. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't, or maybe it's more of a question. Is there anything that preventing different Rook backends from releasing independently? Like it seems, I think by my logic, it seems like all the backends, like they have their own containers and could theoretically like have their own release cadences. And then Rook's release process could be more around like how like its evolution in the shared utilities to all of the backends.
Yeah, I think that we just don't have the infrastructure for that right now, Blaine. With our automated release process, it doesn't allow it doesn't have the ability to filter or specify which specific providers you would want to include in a release. And I think that
Okay, you're right. Gotcha.
yeah, and we don't really have facilities right now either for kind of managing versions across providers when they diverge. That hasn't really been defined yet of how that is handled exactly. So we do need to do some thinking through it. I think that's where we want to go. We probably even eventually want to go to potentially to a model where each storage provider has their own repo even. Source code level. So there's definitely work to do to break apart kind of the single Rook monolithic, I guess, for lack of a better term, approach. And we can start having those conversations, but I don't think, we won't be able to do that in the 1.0 timeframe though.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It was just something that kind of got me thinking, and it doesn't seem like this is very tenable for all backends for very much longer. Maybe half a year.
Yeah, I hear you, Blaine. Yep, that's a good point to bring up.
There's also the difference between what's upstream and what's people are going to have their own separate downstream builds potentially. So if we think about that, maybe it would stay together long term, and but yeah, it would be nice to separate for sure. I guess it is just a resource question, right, or time issue of refactoring.
I know we had an issue about like releasing, I think it was specifically about publishing for different storage providers. And we started a conversation around that, but I don't know if that issue is still open. Travis, do you know what issue I'm talking about?
No, I'm not sure. Publishing them differently or on like a different release schedule?
Yeah, like how we do a release and you get it might have been about the release channels even.
Oh, right. Well, on that conversation, we decided not to do the alpha beta stable channels. It would just be, so I think that was a different conversation in my mind from this. But maybe I'm forgetting
real quick to see if Oh yeah, this is kind of capturing the beginning of that idea, but it was kind of scoped to promotions and channels. Like specific storage providers having specific or differing versioning graduation type of processes. So I don't think this captures that completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's get an issue on that. Okay. Any other comments about 1.0?
So I guess to follow up, we need to, I guess, triage and say what is critical for the release, right? And
Yes. Do you want to get some time on the calendar and go through that together, Travis?
yeah, that'd be great.
I would also be interested in helping out if that seems useful.
Definitely. Travis, can you get something on the calendar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be good. I think we do it all, again with all maintainers and so on, right? With our group.
Yeah, we can open it up to whoever feels like they want to join. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I think it would be good if you open it up. Yeah.
Oh, oops, that should be Travis. Ha.
Yep. Is this same time of day work? Just later in the week, maybe?
Yeah, probably. I think so. I fly back to the States on Thursday night, and I think I'm free Friday morning. I'm not quite sure though. My time zones are all confused right now.
Which time zone are you flying back? Like the UK time zone?
Yeah,
or?
I leave UK afternoon to get back to West Coast United States Thursday evening.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I see.
But Friday full day should be a full work day.
Now you know how it feels for me always with your meetings. Being so late, like 10 something in the evening for me sometimes.
Yeah. Well, 2 hours earlier than this I was going to suggest, but that's hard for West Coast, especially if you were just traveling, Jared.
I mean, we can make something work, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any more 1.0 comments?
I was going to say after we have something for the calendar, I'll put it in the dev chat so other people can join if they're interested.
That makes sense. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on then. I'm at the Cloud Expo Europe here in London, and I'm giving a couple of demos for Rook, both in the talk I'm giving tomorrow morning, and then also at an OpenShift user group that's here in London tonight. I'll have to leave for it in like 45 minutes or so. And so I was just trying to get the usual normal MySQL, WordPress, Ceph demo working with Minikube, and I ran into a couple of issues with it that I was surprised that I ran into. There's a couple that I don't know why they're happening, and I'm just kind of working around them. And so I wanted to bring some of them up here to, see if there's anybody has, good ideas about them or any hints or leads, because that would be useful for. I'm not gonna have enough time before tonight at the OpenShift meetup, but before I present tomorrow at the conference, I might have time to do something about them. So has anybody seen this with Minikube, where you use minikube.sh up, and then that ends up failing with when it's trying to create a symbolic link? Has anybody seen this issue before?
I have seen.
Yes.
I haven't seen this, but I just have to ask. those signs at the front of the line, those are emojis for you?
Yeah, the latest
For me, they are just
Minikube.
broken as
The,
I don't need emojis
within
in
the
my-
last month, Minikube incorporated emojis into their output. Yeah,
Oh, I see. Okay.
isn't that funny? They have a concept of like a stylized like logging output messages, and one of the stylizers is an emoji stylizer, the default one. So they put little emojis in.
I see. Okay, because I always wondered what those weird broken icons in my terminal were. And well,
Oh, they don't render in your terminal?
yeah.
Ah. Yeah.
I don't need them. I just want to see that it's done and successful.
How are you going to know what it's doing if you don't have pictures? But yeah, so by the way, so has anybody seen this error?
I think I saw it last time I launched, but then things worked after that, so I didn't look at it myself.
I was not able to get past this without just I had to comment out that line in the script. Was the only way that I was able to make progress. So it did not just work for me, unfortunately.
So it's the one that does the soft link.
Yeah, exactly. Let me. Get it. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Was that? Well, we have an issue on it at least now. And it'd be good to know if anybody else is running into it, or if this is just my environment, or what's going on with that.
But I faced this, but I restart work for me.
Oh, really? You saw it too, Rohan?
Yeah, but after I start, it worked for me.
Did you guys? So when you say that it works for you guys, did you all run minikube.sh up again, or what did you do?
I think I don't remember. I think I ran it again. Maybe. Not sure.
Yeah, I think I just went ahead and continued using it, and I didn't have a problem. Or maybe I can't remember if I created that link myself after Minikube was running. Yeah, I haven't rerun Minikube for a while. I just keep snapshotting it.
What? Oh, that's what you're doing. I see. Yeah, I had to create a new snapshot here that I'm going to be using while I'm in London. But I see. So that's your workaround is to continue using what does work.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay. The next one I want to talk about this is still happening here, where the Minikube VM just goes kaput. And everything hangs. You can't access anything. Good old Mr. Watkins ran into this as well, and so his workaround of updating the PVC requested storage size from 20 to 2 did seem to work for me as well. I hit it multiple times this morning, and then I made that change, and it worked the first time after that. I don't know if that means that 100% fixes it or not, but it did help the first time I tried it, at least. But I don't think anybody knows what's going on here still, and it's quite perplexing.
Yeah, I think Noah was able to use it pretty consistently after that as well.
After this change?
Right. So it'd be nice to get more testing on that change and just make it in the samples.
With your Minikube VM that you keep using snapshots for, do you not ever run into this, Travis, or do you not, run the MySQL demo thing?
I haven't run that very often recently, to be honest. But yeah. In the demo, we don't need it to be 20 gigs either, right? We can just change it down to 2.
I don't think 20 is necessary.
Because the Minikube's pretty small environment, so it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, the weird thing though is that if it's backed by a Ceph RBD image, and those are like thinly provisioned, that the size I would think shouldn't matter. I'm surprised that would have an impact. I don't know what exactly is going on under the covers, but and sometimes it does work too. So it's like a race condition type of thing.
Yeah.
Tricky.
So turning it off and on again fixes the issue also, or is it really just increasing the memory? That if it increased, will fix it.
Not increasing the memory, decreasing the size of the PVC is the only thing I've seen that has, and Noah has seen as well, that seemed to have worked.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because like Noah tried, he gave 8 gigs to his VM, and it still dies. So it does not. And every time I've looked at this so far too, it it doesn't seem to be a memory pressure issue. There's like not the load average is nothing like there's not, we're not running into using any swap or anything. It doesn't seem like a memory issue on the VM.
Could you take a look at the demask when it happens again?
Well, the hard thing is that when it happens, then all of a sudden you can't even SSH to the machine. Like everything hangs. You can't get any access at all to the Minikube VM that I've been able to get.
So could you try running dmask in a separate terminal or something, and then try to reproduce the issue? Maybe there's something in the kernel that for whatever reason is breaking. Yeah.
Oh, you're saying like run dmessage such that it's like that output is tailing out in another terminal, and then when you reproduce, like hopefully it captured something before it died?
Yeah, with the minus W flag, I think it was minus W, and then you have the continuous tail there. And let's see, maybe we catch something there that, I don't know, some weird thing. You can write dmask with minus W as a command. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. Try to remember that next time I'm running into this.
You know, there's a reason for 4 monitors. One for tailing some workload.
Okay, and then this seemed to be an easy one. It looks like we missed when we were updating to use apps v1 deployment everywhere. It looks like we missed I think the MySQL one, and the WordPress one we didn't update to use a required selector, which is apparently part of a required validated field in the deployment spec. So this should be easy to update, but it's occurring with the manifests that are committed to master right now. So that's an easy one.
So do you have a local fix for that then?
In the interest of time today, when I was running into a lot of things not working, I did the most simple things possible. And most of the time, instead of fixing things, I put in workarounds that reverted them back to the way that they used to work without any issues. So my fix here was moving it back to apps v1 beta 1 that doesn't have that required selector. I was doing anything I could to get the demo working today. Yeah, the glog.
Maybe someone from the participants right now want it, or if not, go ahead and assign it to me. As I have around an hour to my hotel with the train, I can do that.
Oh, okay, sure.
Jared, to be faster, just press A. If you press A, I think it will just it will open the assignment.
Oh, cool.
Too.
I did not know the GitHub shortcuts.
That you can get even more speedier.
Cool.
That's pretty useful.
It is.
When you're running around with all the labeling, you just press L, for example, and it's so much faster than clicking all the time.
Nice. So yeah, the glog, we're using glog in the EdgeFS operator, which is a simple thing to change. I'm not worried about that. Travis, you added a comment here of the external provisioner uses glog. What was that about?
Yeah. So a month or two ago, when I tried upgrading our client to use the 1.13 as well, and I tried to update some other things like the external provisioner, and yeah, the external provisioner code is still using glog too, so I just updating EdgeFS didn't work for me to be able to pull in 1.13. So so the external provisioner needs that change to use klog as well.
Oh, interesting.
Last I checked.
Maybe when I went through the exercise of updating to 1.13 because in my demo I needed 1.13. And so I did a number of things to make that work. Let's see here. So I opened an issue to capture that, and including everything I did so that when we want to update to 1.13, we have this information and we don't have to stumble through all these. You know exactly how difficult it could be to update the Kubernetes references, Travis, because you did it for 1.12.
It's pain.
But as part of that, I updated SIG storage lib the external provisioner to be 2.0, and maybe they got rid of glog in that, from 1.0 to 2.0, and started using klog, maybe because I didn't run into any glog issue at all inside of the external provisioner.
Well, maybe that's fixed then, because I don't think there was a 2.0 tag last I looked.
There might not have been, and oh god, it's better than it was, but the Kubernetes version dependency management of Go packages is still kind of a pain in the butt. Like you update things to 1.13, and then some of like Kube Open API doesn't have any releases or tags or anything, so you have to it's very specific about the version you're using, or otherwise it'll go out of date. And client Go, the matching version for 1.13 is v10. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
got it.
Yep, that's
it's such a headache, and it's like the iteration cycle to run make vendor and have to build out its entire graph and try to solve all the dependencies, and then something's missing. And so I've captured all that work here, and obviously like that change is not going to go in today, or maybe not even 1.0. I don't know, because that would require a fairly comprehensive testing pass to make sure that there's no regressions. So I just captured everything in this ticket here, so that we don't have to go through that headache again.
I see. Okay.
All right.
I do see some glog references in the external provisioner, but interesting. Maybe they're in packages we don't use now, because there are some changes. They changed some of the glog imports to just alias to the klog.
Interesting.
Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that it was panicking, and then it stopped once I changed the EdgeFS one. So I didn't look into it further than that. All right, so I think those are all the issues and things that I ran into while getting this demo up. And we have everything's being tracked. And I have workarounds for everything right now. So we should be okay for now, and then we'll follow up on these issues to get the long-term fixes in, and we can move along, I think, to Travis.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this one. So what was it? 2 or 3 weeks ago, you created the assignees group, and I've been trying to add people pretty aggressively so we can assign issues to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So we know who's working on them. So some of them, the invites, I don't think have been accepted yet. So a couple issues I couldn't assign yet. So if you've had an invite, please accept it. Or if you haven't gotten an invite yet, let us know, and we'll make sure you're added so we can track who's working on what.
One thing I want to note with the assignee there, I think it would be good if we can look into CNCF for help with bots that we like with the Kubernetes project, where you have like commands like /assign or something like that, that we have this automatically. So we basically still have this assignee group, but that it will happen automatically. As right now, at least, we still need to do the assigning, as far as I know.
Yeah. Does anybody know how that works? It'd be great if someone could.
I think we should just hit up like the CNCF. What was it? The support center? Well, not support center, but there was this one repository where one could ask like questions or so about CNCF parts, and at least it was in the survey where it was like, help with robots and stuff, or bots with.
Like the little like self-help service desk or whatever.
Yeah, this one. Yeah. Maybe we can just raise a ticket there and go like, hey, how can we set up like a assignee bot or something? And
I think it'll be good to have a clear understanding of what scenarios we want to solve. Like what the workflows are. Like if we if there are other things that need to be set up, like organizationally or process-wise, to be able to effectively consume those bots, like there may be some things that we don't have set up that the bot itself, won't solve on its own. So thinking through that a little bit, and understanding what bots are available to us, like all that requires a little bit of thought. But I do agree, though, Alex, definitely that having some of that automation in place is always, always makes things better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. Travis?
Yeah, another comment about the assignees. So it is a read-only group. So in my mind, it's just, to get someone going with one issue or two, and after they get past the first couple of issues, then we just add them to the contributors group where they'd be able to self-assign from that point on. Because with the assignees, you can't assign issues to yourself still.
Right. You can be an assignee for an issue, but you don't have write access to anything in the repo, including the assignee field of issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's certainly due to limitations from GitHub side.
Yeah, their permissions are fairly broad, where you either can read things in the repo or you can write to everything, including changing the milestones and changing the projects and everything, which is a little heavy-handed.
Well, I think we need role-based access RBAC for GitHub now. Let me write those YAMLs up for the assignee group. Give me a minute.
There's a GitHub booth here at the conference hall. I'll stop by there and float that idea to them, see what they think of that.
RBAC.
Yeah. Maybe a bit less of RBAC there, but maybe just ask them if they have something on like that on the roadmap. I can see that they maybe look into something like that exactly for project like that, where we just want people to, for example, have issues but not modify like the project and the milestone. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe they already have something on the roadmap.
All right, Travis, you have another topic here.
Just to point out that we're still blocked on making the Nautilus image the base image for the Rook, the Ceph operator. So that's still waiting on the ARM build for the Ceph images. I just talked to Sebastian Hahn this morning, and we need the ARM build to be published. There's kind of a question too overall about how many users do we have of ARM builds. I just glanced through our Docker Hub repos, and there's like on the order of hundreds of Docker pulls for the ARM repos, where there's millions for the AMD 64. So to some degree, I mean, we should probably ask ourselves: do we really want to support ARM? Is it really useful for people? Is it worth supporting it? I guess, or is it? Can we do without it?
For the HFS, but I'm not sure if Dimitri is. Perfect. Dimitri is here. I think he just opened a ticket where he was, basically talking about using HFS for embed use cases. I think ARM platforms would totally fit into embed use case of HFS there. So at least for HFS for Ceph. I would question it as it's
but
using many more resources.
Yeah, I just opened that, but it's really we don't have ARM support yet. As far as HFS, it's just x86, but works great still on cheap devices like whatever the cheap devices are. But no ARM there yet.
Okay, yeah, I just saw the issue and thought maybe you already have something going there, but. So
yeah. Thanks.
For Ceph, we would need to see, because from some people I more or less hear it like, I have my old Raspberry and I want to try it out, kind of like. But the problem with Raspberry is that at least till the latest one is Raspberry Pi 2, they were like only ARM 32, not ARM 64, and as far as I'm informed, Ceph only supports like ARM 64, I think.
Right.
And
it also seems appropriate that it would depend on the storage provider of which architecture to support. Right now, the Rook build assumes, I think is it blanket across, for all of them, ARM and AMD 64. We don't have to resolve it here. Just wanted to bring up discussion or the question of what makes sense long term. So I guess in this group, I'm not hearing that, yes, we really need ARM64 for Ceph. It's sort of a try it out thing, but not production thing, right? Anyway, that's
I don't know. It's a good question. I've always been a little curious about the pull numbers on Docker Hub, and with the usage of the manifest tool and all that and redirection and stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if some of those ARM numbers aren't getting captured correctly. So it could be that there's more demand than what is indicated right now. I'd be cautious about that.
Yeah, definitely want to be cautious. Just
Jared, what are the numbers from the for ARM from the top of your head?
Travis was just saying that ARM compared to x86 is like 100 versus a million. So it seems like it was a massive difference. But I've always been a little skeptical of how Docker Hub numbers work when you because of the manifest tool is supposed to specifically get the right version at runtime, and I've always been a little suspicious of the numbers, honestly.
I see. Thanks.
All right. Action items. Is that an action?
No,
Alex?
Wrong list. It should be moved one up. Could you?
I gotcha.
Could you move it up one step? Yeah, just remember that KubeCon is almost around the corner.
Yeah. I don't know. Did anybody get talk accepted? They sent out the notifications for accepted and rejected KubeCon talks for Barcelona last night. And I know I got one accepted. And then we have the intro and deep dive sessions as well accepted for Rook. Did anybody else get any good news about a talk being accepted?
not I.
My IPv6 talk, my Lightning talk there has been rejected.
Not
well.
Yeah, they rejected my talk as well. So.
Bummer.
Well, at least for CEFCon, I think I should have put it differently. Not only KubeCon, but maybe also Cephalocon. My Rook talk, I think Blaine. There he is. I think Blaine's talk is also accepted, or.
Yeah, for Cephalocon, Alexander, your talk on like a Rook intro got accepted, and I revised mine to be more of like an intro, but for Rook development or for Ceph development on Rook.
So both you guys are going to be speaking at Cephalocon?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Sebastian Hahn, Sebastian Wagner, Travis?
I'll be there.
You're standing in the crowd with the green Rook t-shirt on and holding up a sign, "You can do it, Rook for the win." Our emotional support, Travis.
Right. I want to let other people talk about Rook. I think it's fun to hear others talk about it.
So my talk that got accepted for KubeCon Europe is about using Rook to do like global scale data usage, and so I'm hoping to kind of sync up with some of the Ceph people and EdgeFS as well, and then maybe Cassandra as well, to kind of see what we can show off using Rook to set up like multi-site replication or disaster backup sort of recoveries type of stuff where you're mirroring to another zone around the globe or something like that. Because when I wrote that abstract, I wasn't entirely sure what specifically I'd show, and it got accepted. So now I have to figure out what the specific content of the talk is going to be. So I'm thinking that Ceph and EdgeFS we'll be able to show off something cool from those that has to do with multi-site, multi-cloud type of data storage.
This is
On
great.
a
Thanks.
on a similar note, Jared, as far as like I guess integrations with Rook, I'm I've been working with one of my colleagues here to try to figure out like what methods can we use to connect Rook to OpenStack clusters, and like is there any work in Rook or in OpenStack that will allow it to go better? But my presentation should have a little bit of that, but it'll mostly be a Rook introduction at the end of April.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I remember. Gosh, Travis, how long ago was that Steve gave a Rook talk at OpenStack, like in Boston? Was that like 2017?
Like a year and a half ago, maybe. Yeah, it seems like it was summer 2017.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. And I think that he did something with Sender basically, and I have no idea what it was. But that might be a talk that you maybe you can look up, or we can find for you, Blaine, that shows how Steve integrated Rook with OpenStack Sender to give you ideas if you need them.
Yeah, that would be super great.
Yeah, see if Travis, see if you can find that for Blaine.
Right.
And Steve's busy since then, working on making EKS slow and confusing.
Oh well. So from my side there, I hope just that a lot of people are coming to Cephalocon and the other KubeCon.
The other Cephalocon and the other.
Yeah, I couldn't remember it right there. Yeah. And yeah, just hope to see everyone. Yeah, so I have to see if I run around in my Rook shirt, but I'll probably at least be able to run around with my Rook flag if it's printed till then. So be sure to look out for some guy running around with a flag with the Rook logo on it. So yeah.
Nice. We'll find you, I'm sure. Cool. So yeah, I gotta get going.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, easily, and we'll be looking for you anyways. So I got to get going to the OpenShift meetup tonight to go present there. And I think we're out of agenda items here. Is there anything else that anybody wanted to bring up in this forum here? Okay, well then we will go ahead and stop the recording.